Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Small Data with T, where we are passionate about the power of small data in healthcare. I am your host, Tanazia Gonzalez, but you can call me T. Data has certainly changed the game in healthcare. Big data has blown the roof off, but small data, now that's the future. Small data allows us to dive deep into the key insights and take quick, customized action to achieve phenomenal results in performance and quality improvement. Let's explore this today. Thanks so much for joining us. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, feel free to reach out to me at tgonzalez@eima-inc.com. Enjoy the show. Let's go. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Let's Talk Small Data with T, where we explore the power of small data in healthcare and just the power of small data in general. And today I'm so happy to invite Scott Taylor joining us from Bridgeport, Connecticut. And let me tell you, you're in for a real treat. When I first saw this gentleman in my network, I said, I have to have him on my show. He's so funny, he's so entertaining, and so experienced and knowledgeable. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy to hear his story. Scott Taylor is also known as the Data Whisperer. He's well sought out by businesses for his expertise on proper data management. He focuses on business alignment and the strategic why, rather than system implementation and the technical how. He's the principal consultant for MetaMeta Consulting, and he's the author of the recently published Telling Your Data Story, Data Storytelling for Data Management. The Data Whisperer also has a YouTube channel, which you have to check it out and subscribe. And in the notes for the show, I will definitely post all of the information that you will need in order to see Scott's YouTube channel as well as his book. And I am going to ask Scott to go ahead and turn on his camera and join us. And I can see you are on mute.
There I am. How are you? Good to see you.
Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've really been excited to have you on. I've been so tickled by your videos and your talks. And, I'm a lover of data as you are. And so are my listeners who are all over the globe. So I'm so happy to have you on today and to talk with us about what you're passionate about and what you do. So yeah, thanks again for joining me.
Thrilled to be here, T. Thanks for having me, for sure.
Yeah, no, totally. So the Data Whisperer, why do we call you the Data Whisperer?
It's a fun moniker I came up with a while ago, but data whispering, we have to help calm data down.
Yes.
Horse whispering, dog whispering kind of comes from that ilk. But we all, in the data management space, everybody's got to calm data down. It's unstructured, it's unruly, it's big, it's dirty, it's corrupt, it's all those kinds of things. But you don't have to be with me too long to realize the big spoiler alert is I don't do a lot of whispering on my own. So I've got to shout about the power and value of proper data management to make sure the business side supports the work we've got to do.
No, totally. That's interesting because we're always on this show. I developed this show to talk about the power of data in healthcare. And you're talking about the power of proper data management. Obviously, that's come up a number of times. So yeah, thank you for bringing that to light.
Sure.
So yeah, your recently published book, Telling Your Data Story, I'm really excited to read that cover to cover. And tell us a little bit about what it's about and pretty much what's your message.
Sure. Well, telling your data storytelling for data management. You can tell it's 99% buzzword free. So I try and speak in a very business accessible way. I think one of the biggest challenges in the data space is how we talk about it.
Yeah.
To the business side. So if you're out there trying to get stakeholder engagement, C-level support, business ownership for data, all those things we all aspire to do on the data side, you got to be able to tell a story about why managing your data is of strategic importance to the enterprise.
Right.
And, data storytelling in general is probably the hottest non-technical thing going on in the data space, but it was almost exclusively focused on analytics
Okay.
and business
Okay.
intelligence, data visualization, data science. And I just watched the space and went, okay, we need a second kind of data storytelling out
Mm-hmm.
there, which is about the data.
Mm-hmm.
So data storytelling for analytics is telling stories with data, putting in a business context, driving
Yeah.
action. But all that stuff doesn't work unless you've got the foundational part done, the data management part.
Mm-hmm.
And that group doesn't get enough funding, doesn't get enough support for
Mm-hmm.
helping determine the truth in data, which derives all the meaning. Obviously, I'm on the truth side, hence the meaning of my truth hat. We're all about determining the truth, driving the truth. We can
Right.
handle the truth, but if you don't have truth, then you can't derive meaning.
No,
So,
totally.
chicken or egg
Totally.
here. It's egg and omelet. You got to determine the truth first before you derive meaning. And so that's
Yeah.
my feeling about why we need a better data story about our data.
No, totally. And just in the healthcare space, I'm not sure, do you work with folks in the healthcare space as well as other industries
Yeah, I
or?
have. Yeah, across all kinds of industries.
Okay.
I kind of look at the commonality of different data challenges, no
Yes.
matter what vertical you're in.
Yeah.
And I kind of found, and I mentioned this a lot in the book, that the terminology we use all kind of rolls back to some basic
Right.
premises. And so if you understand those foundational concepts,
Mm-hmm.
then you can extend it to the specifics of your industry, of your sector.
Mm-hmm. No,
But a lot of
totally.
these challenges are they're more the same than different when it comes to the data management side that I've found.
Yeah, I mean, so I've spent the last 20 years pretty much in healthcare data and kind of just fell into it. So I've been exposed to the thousands of different data systems. I mean, problem number one, disparate systems across the system. In the hospital, we've got the doctors, we've got 1,000 different EMRs, and it's such a commercial venture for folks. Everyone has the next best thing in terms of the EMRs, and a number of them are not really designed to work for the doctors. So it's weird. I mean, so now we're stuck with a system that's capturing data that we really can't use. And all of this, we really need to have quick action
Mhm.
and quick access to real-time data for the patients so that we could put the data in the hands of the providers when they need it, at the time they need it. So that's a constant struggle for us, really, to get a longitudinal view for one patient, because we know they travel from different hospitals, from different providers, and seeking services all over the world, and it's like we need to have one picture of the patient so that when the patient walks into the ER having a respiratory event, we can go somewhere and go, boom, okay, this patient actually has asthma and experienced this. And where do we get that? We struggle with understanding the full picture. So data, dirty data, you said it. I mean, and just I spend a lot of time cleaning it up before I can even think about what to report on, and a lot of wasted effort on that. But so when you say the conversation about data is all over the place, was that the inspiration for the Too Much Tech Talk video that you created with the puppets?
Yeah, that was part of it for sure. Was this constant babble we all suffer from on the data side, where people are just
Mhm.
using all these terms that folks don't really understand
No,
and
totally.
don't have enough meaning to what they're trying to do. So the puppet video that you're referring to, starring two of my favorite characters, the CDO, the chief dog officer, and the ITB who speaks only in buzzwords, and they just yabber about all these common data problems. Monkey
Well,
business, the business monkey comes in, he's no help. And
let me ask you something. Could we give the listeners a little taste of this video and show it right now? It's only 3 minutes.
yeah, absolutely.
Um,
If you want to roll it, go ahead and
yeah,
roll
I'll
it.
roll it.
I'd love
I'll
it for
roll it.
sure.
I have
Okay.
it queued up. Okay, guys, this is a treat. Enjoy.
Hello, I'm the CDO. I must create a data-driven utopia of interoperability where insights flow freely from workflow to edge across
integrated ecosystems. And I have to fix the quarterly reports. Let's give a call to IT and see how they're doing. We'll patch them in.
It's the ITB here.
Hello, IT. What do we need to create my data-driven utopia of interoperability and fix the quarterly reports?
Our resources are devoted to the metadata content and analytics graph hub fabric mesh to enable the operational infrastructure scaling of the digital transformation.
I thought I was good at buzzwords.
Buzz, buzz, buzz. And we have to fix the quarterly reports.
You should be a gilly.
A gilly?
Yes, a gilly. A-G-I-L. Look in Wikipedia. Look under Agile.
Let me check with the head of the tiger team.
I'm sure we could scrum something up.
Here's what they've got. Soap. Yawn. Rest.
I'm ready for a bath, a sweater, and a nap.
Python. Panda. Spark. Whoa, whoa, dangerous. Hadoop.
That was a cluster.
Hive. Hive. Oh, look at that. That's just wrong.
Really awkward.
You need to leave now. You're making me uncomfortable. What else you got down there? Kafka. JSON. A lot of JSON. Squirrel. SQL. NoSQL. And what's a pirate's favorite programming language? R.
R.
And the latest, greatest, and buzziest.
Oh, does that go with the pirate?
No, it doesn't have anything to do with the pirate.
But it's a ship.
Try this then. See if you can sound it out.
Burnett eyes.
Kubernetes.
Kubernetes!
One more thing.
Toilet paper?
After all that integration, we're gonna have to clean up our back end.
Now, what about the data?
The data?
I don't have the data.
Yeah, what about the data?
The data?
Why would I have anything to do with data?
Your IT!
It's information technology. You're the CDO.
CDO is Chief Dog Officer. The business has the data.
The business has it.
Sorry I'm late for the call. I'm a little dizzy from our customer 360. What about the data? It's the new oil.
I thought you had the data.
I don't have the data. I'm the business. Let's go fix the quarterly reports. After you fix the quarterly reports, can we start monetizing our big data? Wow. If it's so big, how come I can't see it?
What about my analytics graph hub fabric mesh?
Stop with the buzzwords.
That stings.
I don't have any data.
Kubernetes!
Now what do we do? I don't
Why
have
is
any
everybody
data.
always coming
Why
to
would I
me
have
with
my
the
data?
data?
Does that sound like your organization? This has been a puppet service announcement from me, Scott Taylor, the Data Whisperer. Don't let the tech talk dominate your data conversations, and do what master data lovers everywhere are doing and give proper data management the strategic focus and importance it deserves. And who knows, maybe all your buzzword dreams will come true. Put your data to work. Isn't that right, gang? Put your data to work. The D stands for dog. I didn't know that.
It's so cute. I love that video. So did you do all of the puppet voices?
I did all the puppet voices. Yes, that's all me. A bunch of acting training in college, did a bunch of community theater afterwards. So I kind of draw on that capability I have there. But yeah, it was fun. It was a blast.
No, it's fun. It's true. Yeah. I mean, it's such alphabet soup. You know, alphabets, I mean, in healthcare, you know, we live in health, you know, alphabet soup, just like in the data world, it's, you know, the R and all these different words. And it just complicates, overcomplicates everything for no reason. Yeah. So, well, thank you for that. I found
a lot of people,
really
the biggest comment I got from folks, which was the most surprising one, was, yeah, it's so real. I just, you know, you must have been eavesdropping on my last conversation. I just left this meeting and I'm thinking these are puppets, you know. So I had 4 people immediately who I didn't know write me when I posted it the first time and say, can I use this in my presentation? One of them was presenting at Gartner the following week. And it's like, sure, go for it.
Okay.
So,
okay.
A big hit and more to come. So last year, my most creative thing I did to focus on, you know, during the summer was the book. This year, it's more puppet videos. So I've got an epic multi-part series coming that I've been working on with the adventures of the Tech Talk puppets there, the puppets of data. We'll go
Nice.
off and do every data mistake anybody ever runs
That's
into.
good. I mean, you got to have some fun with this stuff, you know. Um, I was just talking with some other folks that really enjoy, I love working with data, you know, and creating stuff, but, you know, you kind of get into a zone where you can meditate. But I've always thought of like a spa, you know, with working with data and like really just getting in the zone and, you know, but the puppet thing, that is hysterical.
It was fun. No, it really it really struck a chord with folks. So I'm not going to ignore the success and the kind of the relevance people found with it. Right. So I'm still talking about the same thing. So that's the thing. You know, you talked about my YouTube channel. The puppets are on there. There's cartoons on there, but there's very nice, you know, more serious kind of keynote type addresses. But it's always the same thing. Determine the truth first before you derive meaning. Get the foundation right. Right. The master data, reference data, metadata. Do that stuff. It's as important as anything else you're doing in the data space, and it doesn't get anywhere near the focus it should. No, totally. No, I can appreciate that. And like I always think back to, you know, in healthcare, it's always, you know, how can we better manage the care and improve the care that we're providing to human beings? You know, my passion is being able to use my skills and talents and creativity to create systems and processes that work, first of all, that drive quality improvement. And so I've been able to do that time and time again over my career. And I really, really have passion for it. And I love talking to folks on this podcast who have equal passion working with data, not just to work with it, but to some end, obviously, to drive quality improvement. Yeah. So, I mean, in healthcare, it's really important to have the data nice and clean and real time and, you know, all of this technical stuff, big data stuff does have to be addressed and taken care of on the back end, like the metadata. I mean, it's very important to understand the architecture and all that kind of stuff going on. So many layers. Big data doesn't have value without small data, without little data. Okay. Essence. And so people, you know, talk about, oh, well, there's all this value in big data. I know there is, but if you don't start to apply some form of structure to it, you don't get the value. And I have these conversations, they start off as kind of debates with folks because I say things like structured data works harder than unstructured data. Or I'll put out a post that just says master data is your most important data, period. And so people just, you know, react to that. Yeah. I've had some conversations with some of them because I'm always trying to learn and understand other folks' perspective. We'll say, well, you know, with big data, well, okay, so how do you get value out of it? Well, we listen for sentiment. I call it, okay, sentiment about what? Your products, right? Your brands, your relationships. Yeah. So if you don't have we put dynamic contextual tags. I go, all right, that's structure. So no matter how you try and position it, right, you don't get value out of data until you begin to apply some form of structure. No, totally. And it's just everywhere. So it just feels like, you know, it's a scientific fact. Yeah. I mean, I just started talk about, you know, where we get the confusion. Yeah, so I just started working with some folks at the Feedback Research Institute. It's a not-for-profit in Manhattan, and we're developing an AI tool, right, to work with the human services organizations primarily to help them manage their data and get to their data faster. And talking about structure, we're only looking like 3 specific markers for each patient. So every time the patient or client, you know, foster care, substance abuse treatment, mental health, all that comes in to see the provider, you know, we get patient name, their unique identifier, and what they're there for, and start developing, you know, a profile to start tracking every time we touch that client. You know, we start developing a picture so that we could say, okay, this picture is starting to change here and now, real time, so that we can act fast and change up what we're providing to the client if we see something changing in the wrong direction. So
No, I hear you. I mean,
But imagine what happens if you don't have that patient ID. I mean,
it's
just that simple
totally,
notion.
yeah,
So
the
you don't
unique
have that unique
identifier,
identifier,
the unique identifier.
it falls apart. You were talking before about getting a holistic view of the patient.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if that's not specific, that concept isn't specific to the healthcare space.
Okay.
The terminology is,
Yeah.
right? Total view of the patient.
Yeah.
But if you're in manufacturing, you talk about product 360. You talk
Yeah.
about customer 360 or client 360 in finance.
Right.
These are all the same. Again, where I see it at the foundational level, the
Right.
conceptual level, these are all the same types of approaches
Mm-hmm.
and structured data to do that. Otherwise, it just doesn't work.
No, totally. I mean, and as I told you, over my career, I've worked with a number of disparate systems within one organization. It could be like 10, 15 different systems, and there's data for one patient in all of them. And you have to have a way to connect John Smith in all of those, so I've developed my own methodology around that, and I've shared it with my teams. It's worked well. But talking about the unique identifier, I spent about 2 years at Healthix Inc. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They are the largest health information exchange or
Oh, wow. Okay.
organization.
Mhm.
Yeah, in the country, probably on the planet. I mean, they're huge, millions of patients, unique patients in their system, and they're connected to a number of different healthcare organizations feeding their registration data and service data to them. So I could see if my patient went to St. Luke's Roosevelt and Northwell Hospital, or he went down to this provider, and kind of building one view for one patient
Right.
for everything, pharmacy, all of that. And internally, the most important activity was to identify the ID, the unique identifier for the patient, because there are so many different data sets, and it's not easy. I mean, you would think it would be, but there were times where we had multiple records for the same patient, and then that causes a lot of issues. But you have to really create a process for that, and make sure you've got your T's crossed and I's dotted where that's considered, because your efforts will be lost.
I talk about this concept called the 4 C's of data, entity, ontology, master data, whatever kind of topic you want to call it. But the 4 C's are code, company, category, and country. And so you need a unique identifier. You need a company or some form of hierarchy. Doesn't apply to every domain, but in your hospital domain, you've got hospitals and they roll up to groups, and there's an organizational structure there. You need a category, what kind of either ailment or episode or location, and then you need geography, country, just as else.
Okay.
So country or some form of geography, could be market, could be, you touched on a lot of those things just in your conversation. Unique identifiers for patients, providers, categories, locations. You're doing it in New York. Well, that's a geography. So this flows through every kind of data activity, and almost you try and think, it's not like what does have that. It's when you think any kind of enterprise, what doesn't relate to identifiers, hierarchies, taxonomies, and geographies. Almost everything an enterprise does, regardless of what business it's in,
that's interesting,
has those kinds of concepts.
Very true. Very true. I like that. I might quote you on that.
Yeah, there's a couple. You're welcome to quiet. There's a couple of videos on my channel about the 4 C's.
Okay.
And what I try and do is boil things down to kind of their basic atomic level and make them extensible to any kind of sector or vertical. What you call them is different. What you call them in healthcare is different than what somebody would call them in finance or advertising or media.
Right.
But the essence of it is the same.
Right. We're talking about the same concepts.
Yeah.
So, all right. Very nice. I love talking with you. I told you before, I love your energy and how you present yourself and your videos. And I really look forward to going on your YouTube channel and looking at some more of the videos. They're so entertaining and educational at the same time. So thank you for what you do. We're coming toward the end of our talk. I just want to thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, T. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah. Now, is there anything you'd like to tell the listeners? Any special call to action you'd like to ask folks to do, or a message you'd like to leave us with?
Sure. If you're interested in the book, go find the book on Technics Pubs. That's the publisher, technicspubs.com.
Okay.
Maybe we put a link in the show notes. If you use my
I
code
will.
Data Whisperer, you get 20%
Oh,
off. It's
very
available on
nice.
Amazon too, but however you want to do it, follow me on LinkedIn. I do a lot of content there, or on
Yes.
YouTube. And if anything, as you suggested, if there's quotes, if anything I do helps support somebody's idea, validate what they're trying to do,
Hmm.
bring a third party perspective. You can't
Yeah.
steal it from me because I'm giving it to you. But I'll certainly, I'll end with the advice and kind of the comment I try and give everybody, which is good decisions you make on bad data are just bad decisions you don't know about yet.
Wow.
So you want to make sure you've got that data foundation built before you go off too far on the analytics side. So determine the truth first before you derive meaning, and you'll always be in better shape.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that. Scott, thank you so much for joining me. And I hope to have you back on the show in the future. Definitely want to have like a real talk, or maybe a round table or some kind of discussion on the unique identifier. Because
Sure.
that one little piece of information, it's so small and usually overlooked, and so important, especially, I know in other industries, but especially in healthcare. So would love to have you on in the future. So I will check with you again. Thank you so much. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in today's session. I hope you enjoyed listening to the Data Whisperer talk about his new book and his words of wisdom. And please do check out his book and his YouTube channel. And I will post links to all of that in the show notes. I want to thank you for joining in. And to subscribe to my podcast, you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or you can go to www.eima-inc.com and click on Let's Talk Small Data with T to learn more about the show and see previous shows on Spotify as well as YouTube. So thank you for joining me, and I want to say have a wonderful evening. And remember, unleash the power of your small data. It's your most strategic asset. Thank you. I'll see you next time. This episode is brought to you by Effective Information Management Assistance, specializing in healthcare small data and offering expertise that goes beyond technology. Visit www.eima-inc.com to learn more about Emma and the podcast